need, which very good on their part. But we got towers on AAA, we got stacking GP10s, and they were able to catch up. But here we are, game number 2 against All Authorities on the blue side. First man, first pick, and Ari will be the first one out.
Yeah, and so right off the bat, we'll have to see what LLeague is trying to do. I would really like to see someone other than Cho'Gath in that top lane. Now, the big thing with Cho'Gath is they were able to send Cho'Gath bottom, and so that is, kind of effective play. There are a number of champions that can do that. Cho'Gath, Yorick.
Yes.
Gangplank can do it. Gangplank is a little bit more aggressive as the game progresses. Here's the issue, though. They sent Cho'Gath bottom to farm, and they were able to take some advantages off of that and, maybe shut down Aurelia a little bit. But once Cho'Gath went back into that top lane, against All Authority, just constantly pushing him into the tower, not allowing him to get involved with the game. And so he's just kind of a passive figure. And as the game progresses, obviously with team fights, because Against All Authority has so many targets, there's not one person that Cho can be like, all right, I'm going to just, go after you, you're my target. Boom, we're done. So they could kind of ignore Cho for a little bit, and there's just too much, strength from Against All Authority. So if we switch up the Cho pick for someone that has a little bit more team fighting capabilities, and then, keep with some of that early aggression, but someone that farms into late game, like a hyper carry kind of champion, like if they got Vladimir instead of Against All Authority, then very quickly, maybe LLeague is able to position themselves for the win.
So we got the first few minutes. We're almost done here. Ari, Lee Sin, Morgana going to be the bans for Against All Authority. They had no Shaco ban on their part this time. Cassiopeia, Urgot waiting for the last ban from LLeague. Nothing really too targeted here. We may see an Aurelia. Mundo will be the last ban for LLeague. So a little bit of a change up. We're not seeing too many champs from last game being thrown. Actually, we have seen no one from last game being thrown out. And Blitzcrank Against All Authority is going to go ahead and stick with the Blitz support. It worked really well for them.
Yeah,
game one.
He was hitting almost every single hook, and just every time you hit a hook, obviously you basically have already won. So they're fine with going with that. That's interesting. There are a number of lanes that do well against Blitzcrank, but here's the thing. If they're looking to go the Alistar lane, then Alistar versus Blitzcrank, it's a pretty even matchup, and then Blitzcrank has that same killing potential. Generally, against a kill kind of lane, you want to go with a constant harass that's safe. So you go someone like Janna, and you can throw off that harass, but then also negate some of that killing potential with the Whirlwind, or Soraka. Ezreal actually this is a perfect matchup because Ezreal has very safe harass. He's going to be able to throw off those Qs. Janna on the other side, they have that damage output. They can slowly wear down Blitzcrank, and so that's a favorable counter in that matchup. However, this is going to allow Against All Authority to be in the position to take someone like Vladimir again. And we saw last time, even though Against All Authority had Vladimir, LLeague, they didn't really pick anyone to counter him out, so he was able to farm there. But, we'll have to see how it goes. Right off the bat, we have a lot of early game aggression in that bottom lane, and we'll see whether or not we see a lane switch again for LLeague.
When one of LLeague's, one of their best odds against Vladimir in that last game was Vayne. Get the attack speed and keep on getting the true damage proc, but it just didn't work out for him. It really didn't. But Ezreal, if Urgot's not available to us, which also I think would have been a good pick against Blitz as well, hey, Ezreal just as good in this situation. Not to mention, you also have the amazing ult. You have that damage presence anywhere you need to on the map. Sort of works like the Ashe ult, but now no stun, more damage. But we will see how that works as well. Graves being picked up by Against All Authority. Thinking about the Xerath.
Yeah, Xerath is kind of interesting. We haven't seen Xerath in a while, and here's the big thing. He was TF, there we go. So lots of aggression. As we said earlier, that Against All Authority is kind of known for. Xerath is kind of a funny pick because he's got just so much damage output. He's got a lot of control over that mid lane. Against a lot of squishy mids, you can use him to counter them out. So against someone like TF, Xerath is actually a pretty effective counter because, one, obviously you can stun when TF tries to get off that ultimate, but then also with his ultimate combo, Xerath can just instantly, nuke him down, very quickly win that lane. He's got the long-range nukes. He's just got such great damage output. But TF on the other side, we already have the Blitzcrank for that killing potential, and then combo that with TF. But here we go. LLeague, they're picking up a little bit more AP. They're picking up a little bit more team fight control. They have Kennen and Vladimir. Against All Authority, kind of tipping that they might have taken Kennen in that top lane for that lane control, but LLeague going to be able to pick that up, so they can, they have safe lanes that can kind of counter out that TF pick and that aggression.
So with that, we already have all the damage we need. So whoever LLeague picks as a jungler is probably going to be a more utility-based jungler. But we see Soaz, and we got Fizz and Poppy. Poppy quite possibly in the Poppy in the jungle unless we were like MTW from a while back. We could see TF in the jungle again. That's been a while. Hopefully we don't see that. That's a painful memory right there a little bit. But hey, they did okay last night. They're moving on. But Fizz will definitely be in there for sure, trying to be all fancy and tricks and tricky, getting away from all those skill shots from Kennen.
Now, see, here's the interesting thing. We saw Soaz playing Fizz at IPL4, and Fizz is just such an aggressive early game champion. As the game progresses, he turns more and more into an anti-carry, try and burst someone down, but he kind of loses a lot of that team fight pressure. But his early game is so strong, he can try and snowball off of it. And top lane, he actually does well against almost anyone in lane. Like Fizz, you can sit back and, Kennen's harass isn't that significant, so Fizz has the burst potential where very quickly you just pick up kills, and it's very difficult to deal with. As a result, I think that LLeague might be going that AD and Janna, top lane again. And so Kennen is one of those champions that can farm safely in the bottom lane. So if they send Kennen to that bottom lane, they send Ezreal and Janna up top, they can try and shut down Fizz, not let him to get in the game. And we saw that actually at IPL4, but still Soaz was able to farm very effectively. They weren't able to take the game because Soaz wasn't able to get any kills or be involved in fights, but he still was able to farm in the 2v1 lane. So we'll have to see how that goes. Poppy, on the other hand, very unusual in the jungle. I can't remember the last time I've seen a jungle Poppy. Poppy can jungle fairly easily, the passive and everything. Yeah. You can, the W in particular, you can mitigate a lot of damage. Now, here's the thing with Poppy. Poppy is just like, it's a super late game pick, and you're looking, hey, all right, whatever. If LLeague isn't going to win this early, we'll just go for that late game, and Poppy can come unstoppable with a lot of items. But on the other hand, LLeague has a very strong team comp, and Jax has that same kind of potential, but is actually a stronger jungler. He's faster. He's got, they've got pretty even ganks. Jax has the stun, but Poppy needs to hit a wall for the stun, so we'll have to see how it goes.
Yep. Wait, we did see a jungle Poppy from Team Dynamic against Mendigilo, and TD, they got the early kills, they got the early advantage that they really needed for Poppy to just last. Well, it didn't even hit late game. The game was over before a 20-minute mark. Now that I remember, but Jax, I mean, we have a boatload of damage already from the rest of LLeague. I mean, we already have some utility from Janna, Ezreal, Vladimir, Kennen. That's a boatload of damage. I would personally like to have seen like a more utility jungler from LLeague, possibly an Alistar. We could have seen a Maokai in there as well. A Mumu even could have.
I definitely agree. If you had an aggressive jungler like Alistar, maybe you pick up kills, but then also you have a tanky body in fights. And Jax can get pretty tanky. Here's the thing, though. Jax is going to be jumping, obviously, into a lot of disables and a lot of burst damage. So very quickly they can wear him down, and that's going to be a weakness of theirs. I think LLeague got a little hung up on the fact that they lost late game so much. So they're like, all right, well, Jax, we can win super late game. We have a ton of late game pressure. And so they actually should win the late game fights with both Jax and Vladimir combined. However, it might be a weakness early when you consider that we have the TF to kind of counter out those Jax ganks, or maybe pick up early kills, and then we have all this CC, which very quickly they can burst people down and control fights.
My primary worry right now for Dofty here is getting too far in the middle of fights, because even to initiate these fights, you're going to be leap striking in, and if you're trying to run away, you can also get pulled in. So I expect Jax to be like right up there in front and melted relatively quickly. So my biggest fear is that Jax will get in the middle of these fights, he becomes a stun bot, and then just immediately dies. That's my concern.
Yeah, that's definitely a big issue that they're going to have to deal with. So I think primarily LLeague, they're using kind of the early aggression of Ezreal, and we see a cleanse on him actually because of the TF gank in particular is what's going to hurt them. And so Ezreal will be very safe in that bottom lane. They're not looking to pick up early kills, but what they can do is use that early presence to kind of hold off into the super late game. They have Kennen for a lot of team fight control. I'm not sure whether or not Kennen's going to be going. I guess I still think Kennen will be bottom. bottom, and they'll send their AD and support top, and that will give a nice farm lane for Vladimir. Mid Vladimir versus TF. TF has a little bit more aggression and a little bit more burst, but because he's short range, it's pretty easy for Vladimir to just kind of sit back and farm. So he will want to do that. Vladimir does have good pushing potential, and against TF, one of the things you want to do is push him into his tower so he doesn't have that opportunity to roam, because he'll miss out on so much CS. So that can be something that happens. We'll just have to see all around. We do have a flash instead of a ghost for Vladimir, recognizing if Poppy comes in or whatnot, right. Ghost wouldn't really be what he needs. He needs to just get out of the way. And we'll have to see how it goes. Particularly N-rated, whether or not he can get off to an early start is going to be what decides this game for Against All Authority. I'm kind of curious what kind of a build we'll see out of Poppy in the jungle, because I would have used to say that you have to go with a Wriggles build, just because Poppy has a nice amount of damage, but really not a fast enough clear speed to go through the jungle. But it would be nice if you could just go like a support Poppy and go with an early, Philo Stone, an early, or Philo Stone, an early Heart of Gold, and if that's enough. But I think you need to go with a Wriggles build, which, we'll have to see how that affects Poppy's mid game.
Yeah, I mean, we could also see. We've got options. I think we could also see potential for like a Trinity Force build even as well. I mean, Trinity Force is sometimes also something you don't see, you see pretty often on Jax as well. So, you get that extra, and especially Jax, because he's got so much burst damage with his kit as well. But hey, wait, we are in a game, and we will see. And Against All Authority, once again, going in for that invade near blue, and TF taunting like a mofo. We got the quick flash, but not over the wall. But you know what that will do? Quick first blood. How unfortunate for Israel. How
embarrassing.
That's into our top 5 flops right there.
But he knew he needed to get out of there, and the big thing is Blitzcrank forcing. Wow, AMT can take some nice damage. He's having fun though. He knows that no one's coming for him.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. Soaz forcing the flash. So the big thing was you saw Soaz. He was holding off on that hook. He could have thrown it off earlier, but if he throws it off earlier, then Ezreal just flashes away knowing he's not going to hit the wall. So Soaz, by throwing off the hook right at that point of time where Ezreal was kind of next to the wall, but kind of not, he was, Ezreal, he forced Ezreal to just, hesitate for a second and be like, oh, shit, what's going on? Throw off the flash quick. And so it was actually really nice timing by Soaz, to force that aggressive situation. But that's definitely huge for Against All Authority. And, any early kills, particularly on who got that? Graves getting that. So he hasn't gotten his items yet, but they will have a lot of control in that bottom lane. And, because of the passive with Graves, that armor, it will be tough for Ezreal to kind of harass him down a little bit. Ezreal and Janet is a very aggressive, kind of harass lane. But even so, that early advantage should negate a lot of that.
And we also see, because of that invade, Duffy got a little bit paranoid. We ended up starting on red buff on the wizard. There we go. We ended up starting on red buff instead of blue, so we're actually going to see a little bit of early aggression onto Fizz. So we bought the leap strike. So we got the Q and the E first. We'll see if we can make something happen. And Fizz actually getting a little bit aggressive here. And we got the stun. We actually see we got the ghost popped on to N-rated. See if he can try and get away from this one. And Shuriken's just barely missing.
Yeah, and so he actually got the level 2 based on that experience from that earlier kill.
Yep.
But, he was kind of being a little bit too aggressive, and that's the thing. If you can grab Fizz in these early levels before he has both of his abilities, he only has his Q and his W, so he doesn't have the Playful Trickster to get out of there. Then, all of a sudden they caught him out of position, and Kennen can start, forcing him back a little bit. But Fizz does have the health pots. He will be okay. And that early ward from that early gold is, definitely going to be huge, allow him to be safe in that top lane.
So Poppy has gotten both buffs now. Going to be go ahead killing those wraiths, and we may see some presence from Poppy in lane for ganks really soon. And N-Raid continuing to get that harass down on Kirby top lane.
Yeah, and you saw N-rated dropping the ward there, but Kennen saw it go down, so Kennen warning Jax, don't come this route. We can come up through the top bush, and you can grab him that way. Since you know that Fizz, he needs to be aggressive. In order for Fizz to lane against the range champ, you need to kind of put a little bit of fear into them so that you can sit there and farm safely. So he's constantly going to be diving on top of Kennen, and as a result, that's going to put him out of position for Jax to come in for these ganks. In the meantime, we see, again, Vladimir is kind of a favorable matchup here, can farm very effectively, and it's really going to wait until TF gets level 6 and starts trying to pursue aggression in these other lanes.
Actually, when we saw Poppy earlier, she only had the red buff. Where did the blue buff go? Did Fizz take it? For against all authority. Yeah, Poppy. She's only got the red buff. Where did the blue?
Oh, yeah,
it is unrated.
They actually gained,
that.
so that's why they got the level 2. We completely missed that. And so there's the big thing. Fizz needs to be constantly spamming out abilities, so having that blue buff is huge. And that's an interesting thing to pass off. It does slow down Poppy a little bit, but they already kind of know that Poppy's going to be slow, and they need Fizz to get off to a good start.
That's the thing. That's the decision. Okay, we're definitely going to be passing off the first blue buff. We have the option. We can give it to Fizz, or we can give it to TF. Who's going to get the most money for it? And here it is. It is Fizz. The blue buff is gone now, so we don't have as much mana regeneration as we normally would with it. And the cooldown reduction as well, but we've done the damage to Kirby, he's been pushed back, but Poppy actually going from behind, we may see another attempt, and he's pretty close to the wall. That slam can do quite a bit of damage. No, don't go in, yes, we got the angles there, right on the edge of the tree line, and then Kevin has no option but to run away, but here it comes, but in the mid, in the same time, we got Jax coming here, getting the kill on a TF, and Graves actually getting the kill on Ezreal down bot lane. Quick kills.
Yeah, all-around aggression from all of these teams. So it is still pretty even in against all authorities' favor. The big thing is that Fizz is getting off to a good start, and Fizz snowballs very effectively. We do see, Cage's lucky pick, so definitely a more popular option for a lot of AP mid champions. But regardless, to get Fizz off to a good start is huge for against all authority, and he can really control the mid-game fights. There's a lot of targets for him, so he's going to be fairly safe, but he can get into that back line, throw off so much disruption, and because we don't have a lot of general fight control, all we have is Janna and Kennen. And then other than that, there's no tank up front, so it will be tough for them to disable Fizz. He can just get into that back line, shut down Vladimir or shut down Ezreal or whoever needs to be.
Yep. So and then you also see that Poppy now going back, farming up a little bit, but we also see that we have the Kage's lucky pick once again on the AP mid. So once again we're seeing against all authority looking to sit back and farm and let LLeague just do whatever they want. It's like, it's okay. We're going to continue to farm. We're going to continue to get more gold than you. We already have more gold than you. And you also see Yellow once again trying to get at harassing. And here we go again. And Rita forcing the lightning rush. It's like, I'm going to get aggressive. Nah, I'm just going to step away. Nah, I got you. I fooled you.
Yeah, and we do have Jax coming in this bottom lane. Once this creep is down, he should be able to get in there.
I think he got spotted.
No, I believe he got in. He's just barely got in. But we do have the TF ultimate, and TF is coming up in this top lane, does have the yellow card, so Fizz coming down with all that aggression, gets off the slow onto Kirby. The pick kill, quick kill. So they're able to pick that up, and again, it's just going to be so tough to shut down Fizz at this point. TF's Ignite is down for the moment, so that reduces some of that aggression. But even though Kennen is one of the safest lanes, Fizz just has so much mobility. Kennen can't get out of the range in time, and now level 6 on Fizz, he can just 1v1 Kennen fairly easily at this point. And then, if he gets his team there, then obviously that's just a bonus.
Yep. I was about to say, Jack's down bot. I was like, I think they saw him. I was like, oh, wait, no, TF. Now they definitely see him. Now they know he's there. So he just goes ahead. He's going to be grabbing red buff number 2 to see if we can't get a little bit more aggression in the lane. And Linak, I think we're going to be keeping the blue for ourselves. Yes, we are. So, we saw, we don't need to pass it to Fizz again. He's already winning his lane. It's not something he necessarily needs. And granted, it's always a good thing to win your lane even more, but you know what? We've done the job with the first one. We don't need to pass off again. Poppy just go ahead, keep it for herself, and bring it in for ganks on other lanes.
And now, here's the thing with Fizz. We actually see Fizz jumping on Kennen once again. We'll be able to back him off there. 2 levels
ahead.
Yeah, he is kind of low on mana, though, so we do get the stun from Kennen, but it's really just not enough damage. You see, it's not enough to wear him down, so once he goes back for items, he just has so much gold to spend at this point. We do see, we have Jax coming up in this top lane, but Fizz has that ward, so he can just get out of there very easily, just trying to kind of bait him in. He's just teasing them a little bit. So how much gold does he actually have? He's got 1100 right now. He's actually going for an AD Fizz build, so a little bit more tankiness, a little bit more sustained damage, but not as much burst. And they already have plenty of burst overall on their team, so that's generally a good decision.
And you see that Kennen in defense has decided to buy a Doran shield, and eventually we'll probably be seeing a chain vest going into a Zhonya's then. But usually when you see Doran's items being purchased at a delay like that, it is a symbol. It's a signal of just how far behind that that person that feels in lane. But here we got LLeague coming in from behind, popping the ult onto Ezreal. The Graves ult just being enough damage there, and we got the pull onto Janet as well. And we actually got another catch out here. We got Dofty here against All Authority. They're pushing down this tower quite aggressively. But LLeague is doing their best to try and defend. Was that a mid-air punch? I think that was. But here we see Hepidix here trying to defend his bot tower. It's not the greatest of ideas, I think. We got the ult, we got the pull come down, trying to maximize damage on Soaz. But we got the punch, we got the pop-up, we got the yellow card, and all the damage we need. Not the best of exchanges. You're mid for support. Not the best trade.
Yeah, and so he had the AoE damage. He was hoping to maybe pick up a couple of kills, see what he could do there.
No.
The 1-for-1 not going to happen. And so against All Authority, coming off to a huge early start, there's another kill for N-rated. You just have so much burst damage as Fizz. So with those early kills, with the towers, he will leave this top tower up, so that will allow him to just continue pressuring Kennen without getting too far down the lane, because Fizz has a lot of mobility from tower to tower in this lane, but once his cooldowns are down, then obviously very quickly he can be chased down. So this will allow him to keep up that presence. And in the meantime, his team is all around doing well. We do have that Wriggles build going out for LLeague, but with that tower diving capability, with the ultimate, very quickly they can pick up a number of kills there. And I think that's kind of what they were going for, was the tower diving for Poppy is very safe.
Yep, and we also see Kirby went back and decided to buy 2 tomes, building towards that revolver. I don't agree with the purchase. I still think a chain vest would be better, because you know what? Your goal now is not to do damage when you're 3 kills down. Your goal now is to survive. And Jax here being caught out in front of the Dragon area, but the rest of LLeague is there to help catch up. We may actually see a Dragon attempted here by LLeague once we get Yellow out of the pit, if we can get him out of the pit. Okay,
so Yellow actually able to flash out there, but Kirby going down once again in that top lane. Again, just has no means of sustaining against Fizz. We have Jax jumping onto Soaz. They are able to pick up the Dragon. They are now chasing against All Authority out of here. We had TF coming in the back line. A couple of them are low, but he's definitely out of position. There's the Jax going to try and pick him up, but he's able to kite fairly effectively, so they can't grab him. And now Soaz is coming into the mix. We do have another stun card for TF, but Jax with the AoE, they do have the quick damage. Can TF get out of there? Kiting very effectively, while in the meantime, N-rated able to pick up top. And then the Blitz pull.
Nice money pull from Blitz right on a retreating Vlad. He was there. You saw Soaz chilling around that corner for so long, just waiting. When is he going to get that pull? Who is he going to pull? Is he going to pull at all? Waiting for the right moment for when LLeague gets a little bit confidence to try and step out a little bit beyond their means, and for them to separate long enough to ensure that Soaz gets the pull he wants on the character he wants. Hepidix was low, we pull him in, pop up, dead.
Yeah, and so right now, again, there's just so much control from against All Authority.
Yep.
You saw there TF just running around. We actually have the TF port mid, but they're just going to drop the tower. So we have 3 towers down for against All Authority. They had the tower advantage last game as well. Primarily, they were looking to farm, but now we see a lot of early aggression to go along with the farm for against All Authority. Yep. So they just have a massive gold lead at this point, but LLeague coming back in this top lane. There is the ultimate, is not going to pick up onto Kirby, so he will be able to back out of there. But against All Authority, able to kind of bully around LLeague at this point. And Hepidix, can he get the pull?
Yes!
The stun not going off very close there.
Almost.
And the follow-up from Soaz and AMT would have been imminent.
I thought that stun was going to land right there on that side wall. But yeah, hey, when you're playing against a Poppy, you have to think it's almost like playing against the Vayne. When you have the pushback, you need to play at very similar ranges. N-rated now looking to steal the red, but LLeague is not too far behind, and Soaz actually getting caught out. How unfortunate, but N-rated is trying to get away as well. We got the pop-ups and the ignite, and we'll finish off him as well. LLeague getting a little bit too far. The ult can only do so much, and Ezreal and Vlad will be able to kill through the wall. Oh!
Yeah, the LLeague ult just for the smite steal of the red. I'm sure he was looking for a kill. I mean, there's a little bit more than that, but even so, a couple of kills for LLeague, able to pull themselves back into this. They do have a very strong late-game team, particularly if they can get Jax farmed up. Now, here's the issue. Jax going for the Wriggles build, so that gives him more jungle clearing speed, obviously, but it does slow down his mid-game a lot. So he's got a little bit of damage, has no survivability, which is definitely going to be an issue for him. I mean, Kennen and Vladimir are generally tanky enough where maybe they can make it work out, but we've kind of been talking about how the concern is that Jax is jumping into all of this burst damage and jumping into all of these disables, which is not a favorable matchup.
Yeah, but when you do build Wriggles on Jax, he does have that little attack speed steroid, so when you go for objectives like Dragon, like Barret, he's going to be a little bit faster, going to help out the team a lot more in that, which means you see him now trying to build a little bit more to complement his team, but when you do that, you don't buy things to complement yourself and help you survive. And you see that we're buying a Doran's Blade just for a little bit extra health and damage.
Yeah, and in the meantime, against Soul Authority, they just have so much burst potential. We actually see the Wits End on Fizz, so, full AD. They don't have a lot of disables, so he can go for that Ninja Tabby as well, mitigate some of that physical damage, since he already knows, all right, I'm going to focus down Vladimir for the most part. Ezreal isn't that big of an issue. Ezreal going for the double Doran's Wriggles build, so at 15 minutes in, the damage is okay, but not stellar. It's really just not enough control to just outright win you a fight. So he's not concerned. And you also have to consider that it's, if he can just negate some of that burst damage from like Vladimir and Kennen with his Playful Trickster, get out of the way, and then dive onto Vladimir, shut down that magic damage, all he has to worry about is physical. But the stun from AMT, then the Blitz pull. We do have the quick kill onto Roldo. They're able to grab that. And Poppy coming in as well, gets the stun onto Hepidix. He's going to have to get out of there, though, taking a lot of damage, but he will be okay to heal back up.
Ult is back up for Poppy, though, so if they do decide to dive this, we may have a little bit of a... we're going to have a nice little tank there to try and absorb some of that damage from the tower if necessary, but I think they should be able to take this pretty convincingly. We actually got the flash in. Jax trying to focus down Poppy as best he can. The ult not going to do a whole lot, actually. Soaz also going down as well. Well,
yeah,
heck, but Graves, look at Graves. Yellow's now bot lane, plugging away at that tower. We got the ult from TF. Where are we teleporting? We're teleporting. We actually got the quick kill on Kennen by the red buff.
Yeah, and so even though we had a quick 2 kills for LLeague, against All Authority kind of taking advantage of this, so we have another tower going down for them. But even so, this is pushing more and more into LLeague's, kind of late game advantage, and they are coming back from this. We actually have the stun onto Timatu with N rated, so much burst damage. He will be able to have that cleanse and that flash out of there. The ultimate from Roldo, kind of a waste.
Yeah.
Not really a whole reason for that, but another tower down, mid, very close to going down, will actually allow it to stay up. But the next push will take it down. It's basically down already.
Against All Authority is now frantically pinging Baron. They do feel that they're at enough of an advantage to just go ahead and take it outright. LLeague has no ward coverage in that area, and we also have the Oracles on Soaz just in case they did. And you see, we have Yellow just pushing bot lane like a boss, keeping LLeague distracted away from the rest of the team, allowing them to split push however they like. But they're in such an advantage right now. They're about 8k in gold ahead. Oh, and just plugging away at Ezreal. Can't get away.
And so right now, LLeague doing basically what they need to be doing in order to take this game. Against All Authority, aggressively pushing because they know, all right, well, if we get towers, then obviously that gives us a little bit more map control. But LLeague able to sit back. The big concern, again, is Jax. But you saw in that last fight, Jax was primarily a stun initiator. The rest of his team is doing a little bit more work, but he's going to need to be more involved as the game progresses. We, have a nice bit of burst damage, but not a lot of sustain from LLeague. And so the Rylays, once Vladimir gets that will be very nice. He does have that Woda. Kennen, of course, being shut down early, that prevents a lot of Kennen's damage, which is going to make him fall off a little bit. He's primarily just going to be a stun bot. So, they can't win these long fights. They just have to sit back, get those early kills, and then back off.
Yeah, I still feel that Kennen early on should have got that chain vest to go for that zoning, but actually we also see that Yellow trying to 1v4 here. He realizes a little bit of his mistake, but look at the Baron area. Yellow being a very good bait, but once they see the Baron buff pop up on him, they won't. They have no idea. They have no idea. We have Dothy has a little bit of an idea. We got the ward now. They know it's like, oh man, why did we chase that Graves? But we got Kennen. Oh man. You did not have the steal from Jax. That was a move in desperation against All Authority. They have the Baron buff. They know where everyone is. Where's TF going? Where's TF teleporting to? We got the mid. We got the trying to get the kill on Hepnix. We got the yellow card up, tanking the turret a little bit too much.
Even so, that Baron buff is going to be huge for pushing. We actually N-rated, still diving for this. He wants those
They
kills.
want that kill.
So Kennen,
no, but Kirby, you're getting a little bit too overzealous here. Can we get just a punch from Soaz, just something to keep you from killing him? Oh, but you got the Ignite will end rated fall. No, 30 health.
Yeah, and so with that Baron, they have a huge advantage. Obviously, Poppy, one of the strengths of Poppy is the Q, the percentage health-based damage. It allows you to drop Baron very quickly. We saw TF charging up that stun so that when Jax came in, he could just insta-stun. They didn't have the issue of the steal potential. And now this is going to be very difficult for LLeague to hold off in this, particularly when we have the split pushing capability of TF. It's going to be really difficult for them to control these fights. And Linak and Yellow out of position here. They are going to engage on this, but they're going to go down pretty quickly. Does Dofty go down? We do have that exhaust, but the Ezreal ult, so they're able to pick up 2 kills. Really no reason for that to happen when they have the Baron and they know they want to push, just allowing LLeague to continue to get back into this game.
It keeps happening for Against All Authority. You have members getting a little bit too far out. They keep getting caught, and it's really unfortunate if you get caught out with Baron, because that's more members of your team without the buff. You're a little bit less effective in team fights, and they gotta stop doing that. They gotta stop getting caught. Otherwise, it's gonna allow LLeague the advantage they need to catch up in this game. Oh, but we got the pull coming in on Kirby. Not a whole lot gonna happen with it. They just want to disrupt LLeague just a little bit.
Yeah, and here's the big thing with the kills. I mean, it's not just the Baron buff. It's the fact that it's stalling it out for almost 2 minutes because Soaz coming in. Are they trying to engage this fight? I know they're just trying to taunt them a little bit, but this is going to give an opportunity for LLeague to get in on there. We have the Jax come in with the stun. They're chasing. The Fish ult is going to push them back a little bit, but there's the hook, and now all of a sudden, Against All Authority turning back onto him, we have the TF ult coming in, the flash onto Vladimir, able to pick up that kill, and so just constantly keeping out of range, just toying with LLeague a little bit, and now with those kills, they will be able to take an inhibitor here.
That was a bit of a, the Jaina ult, I'm still not thinking about the position here, but Kirby here trying to make something happen on the defensive end, Ezreal trying to blink away, back to the fountain, but Against All Authority, they're all up in LLeague's business. 3rd tier tower mid going down. Oh, the Ezreal ult smacking Poppy right out away from the inhibitor, but you know what? We still got 4 members Against All Authority here. We got another tier 3 tower here in bot, and Yellow is just taking it to town. Almost get the pull onto Jaina, but Dofty's out in front once again. Against All Authority, they're getting a little bit too aggressive here, trying to take down all these objectives. They're trading for kills, but they're also taking down these inhibitors. But Yellow might just be able to 1v1 Hepatix on his own, just from sheer auto attacks. 1, 2, 3, yes, and now Kennen trying to rush in. Will we try to pursue Yellow? No, just stand still.
And so Yellow, I think he's just waiting to allow Yellow to get it.
We got it.
There was the reset, so not really a penta, but whatever, we'll allow it.
We'll allow it. It's an unofficial penta.
Yeah, so Against All Authority, able to grab this second inhibitor here. Yellow just going to come onto the space turrets, and so Against All Authority going to be able to take it. Kind of teasing LLeague a little bit at the end there, just having fun. But able to pick up the kills, able with primarily the early aggression that they had, and the TF pick, the Poppy pick worked out very well for them. And then Fizz, the huge advantage that Fizz got over Kennen in that top lane. Kennen still not really into this game is, like we said earlier, just the stun bot. He's got almost no items in order to, give him control over these fights. And so Against All Authority very easily can, pick up the win here.
Let's see, we have members of LLeague here. We've got Kennen 1, 8, and 5. We got Jax not doing so hot for himself. He doesn't really have that too much in terms of sustain. So you have 2 members of LLeague being reduced to essentially stun bots, leaving the rest of the damage to rely on Vladimir and Ezreal, and they can't do it alone against this team, especially when you have Graves so well farmed, when you have Poppy with an ult that protects her so well, when you have Fizz, you can't focus the thing. He keeps jumping around. It's really unfortunate because LLeague cannot get the focus they need. And then Linak getting a little bit too overzealous here, has to pop the ult, trying to get some damage down on Dofty. But, and now we have Soaz here trying to lead some members of LLeague to their doom, because here is Graves, Yellow. Here is the powerhouse now for Against All Authority, and Kirby trying to make an objective happen, trying to get the kill on that tower. Will he be able to deny himself? We missed the 3 cards. Yes, but hey, you got all Against All Authority here. Now in your business, you're down 1 teammate LLeague, and Fizz is here. It's lunchtime. Getting Earth. And now LLeague is in full retreat, knowing that they cannot quite get away from
And
against
with the
Authority.
silence from Blitz, they are able to pick up that kill. So they will be able to push in here, and this will be GG. It's a 5v3 3 advantage, so they will be able to push into these Nexus turrets. N rated's pretty low, but not a whole lot of fight control for LLeague. With the one inhibitor down, they can just pop the second one real quick, or they can run in. Actually, we're going to have a respawn for LLeague, so they might not be able to grab it. But Dofty coming in, trying to burst down N-rated, not going to happen. The ultimate doesn't pick him up this time. Timatuj still trying to get that kill, almost grabs it, but then the stun from Raldo, and Kirby coming in, but there's not a whole lot of damage behind him, so very quickly they can turn around, get the kill. There's the Blitz hook, and now we're going to have another stun, but it's a blue card, so they will have to back off. But can Soaz get it? Yes, he does grab that last kill, and they will be able to take down these towers. So against all authority, 2-0 against LLeague, able to pick it up, and will be continuing on in our IPL5 qualifiers.
They did to deny. They needed to top lane to get rid of Kennen, ending this game 1-10-5. So unfortunate, but we see all this focus now coming out of the Nexus, and that will be it. GG against all authority is moving on. Good job.